Hello, that was Minuet No. 2 from Suite in A, Opus 144 by Cicel Armstrong Gibbs. This is the A2 piece of the ABRSM Grade 5 Flute exam pieces from 2022. Taking a look at the style of the piece, we're in 3/4 time. We have 3 sharps in the key signature telling us that we are based in A major. We also have a key change in the middle which brings us to a C major. You can see in the piece that there are quite a lot of accidentals and we're morphing and shifting quite a lot of the time. Both the C major and the A major are part of your grade 5 syllabus going up to 2 octaves. So a C major first going up from the low C. And the A major. The instruction of play here is tempo di minuetto, meaning that we need to play with the style and speed of a minuet. We need to be elegant in time as well as emphasizing the first beat of a barletto for the dance. The speed we're given here is crotchets equals 120. You should be fine counting in crotchets throughout the piece, perhaps except the semiquaver section, but once you get used to it, it should be fairly simple. This piece is in ABA form. The first A section is in bar 1 to 25. We have an idea repeated twice in here, the first one in bar 1 to 10. The second time we play in bar 11 to 25, we start off an octave higher. But while we keep the same rhythm, the shape of the melody as well as the articulation changed, and we also extend the last phrase to end the section as well. Then the B section in bar 26 to 50. We have a couple of different ideas here. The first is a semiquaver and quaver melody which goes up and down. This is repeated twice with both phrases ending differently. The first one being in bar 28 to 32. And the second being from bar 35 until 41. After that, in bar 42 to 50, we have another idea, starting off with an octave jump and then scale down. The first time we play this, we only have one scale segment, but the second time we play this, we have 3 scale segments. And we also end on the upbeat melody that we had previously to bring us back into the A section. Following on from the transition, we get back to the A section in bar 51 to 74, which is exactly the same as bar 1 to 24. What we do afterwards finally is the ending phrase from bar 75, starting off with a rhythm from the A section, but then following on with the scale segments and ending in an octave jump. So from bar 75. The A section is pretty simple rhythmically and is easily countable in crotchets. The main idea we have here is 3 quavers followed on by a dotted crotchet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. This is used multiple times throughout the piece, so it is important that you get it right. On the third time doing this melody, the dotted crotchet turned into 3 slurred quavers. And the 3 quaver upbeats have E, E, F sharp instead of the E, F sharp, E pattern that we've been using 3 times before. So here is the first phrase, bar 1 to 4 in MF. The second phrase we start off where we left off. But on the second and third set of upbeat quavers, they have moved up in pitch as well as volume, and the second half of the phrase is different. We first have 6 quavers slurred to a dotted crotchet, and then we have a quaver slurred to a tight crotchet and the minimum in bar 8, before coming down in pitch and volume in a scale. So the rhythm in bar 8 and 9 is this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Look out that the dotted minimum in bar 10 is tied to a quaver in bar 11. So here is a demo for bar 5 to 10 with the crescendo and decrescendo as well throughout the phrase. Then we're going to play the shape of the rhythm again in bar 11 to 20, the third and the fourth phrase. There are a couple of differences though. The first one is that we're in forte, and the second thing is that when we're playing with the piano, we are leading the piano. So we're going to play first and the piano is going to copy in rhythm. Now this creates a question and answer effect, but it can get confusing, so you need to stick to your beat and make sure you come in on time in bar 11, otherwise you will be slightly out of sync with the piano afterwards. As I mentioned before, the rhythm is the same as the first 2 phrases. However, the shape of the melody is slightly different, as well as the last phrase being slurred altogether as well. We're also getting to the higher notes, especially in bar 14 with the high E note. So here's a demo of bar 11 to 20, making sure that we are playing in forte. In bar 21 and 22, the rhythm is the same as previously in bar 19 to 20. But the scale doesn't stop there, it keeps going on down into bar 23. There's also a change on tonguing from slurred to tongue in bar 23, as well as a decrescendo to a piano in bar 24. We end the A section with a slightly nil but simple rhythm in bar 24 and 25. Take care that in bar 25, the octave jump, the last quaver A note has a dot on it as staccato, so it needs to be slightly lighter and also be lifting as well slightly. We end the A section with a slightly nil but simple rhythm in bar 24 to 25. Take care that in bar 25, the octave jump, the last quaver, A note is a staccato, so it needs to be slightly lighter and we need to have a lift-off effect on there. A key change into C major, and the 2-bar rest starts us off in section B. The piano is doing this. That G sharp chord we hear is the start of the bar, so from there you can start playing. There is a low C note on the second beat, but it can be quite hard to hear because the piano is playing that in piano. This bit in bar 35 to 37, which has the same rhythm, could be tricky counting in crotchets initially. So when we slow down a little bit to practice in quavers, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. So counting in quavers is the easy bit. Counting in crotchets, we're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The rhythm in bar 32 to 33 we have seen before in bar 5 and 6. Look out now that the notes are slurred in pairs as well as an F sharp. So a quick demo for bar 27 to 33 with the piano playing from bar 26. We are still in piano here as reminded in bar 28. The rhythm in bar 32 and 33 we've seen before in bar 5 to 6. Look out that the notes are now slurred in pairs as well as having an F sharp. Now bar 32 is also when we start playing with the piano together again, so that's a good indicator of whether you are in sync with the piano or not. We have 2 bars worth of rest before we start playing the same rhythm again in bar 35. The piano is playing in quavers and you'll hear it go up and down and then back up again onto a D note, which will be when you come in. This time the flute section we are starting off higher and we go up even further. We also start in an MF and then start crescendo immediately until we get to a forte in bar 38. We then again descend in quavers, this time over 2 bars, and the second bar has a different tonguing. 3 slurred quavers and then 3 separate quavers, as well as a decrescendo into a piano in bar 40. With the piano playing from bar 31. Following that is another rest, this time for 3 beats. In bar 44, the entry is similar as well, so I'll cover it here. The piano is doing the semi-quaver and quaver rhythm, but having the quaver go first. You'll hear it go to the top, and that is your cue to come in with the melodic idea, where we have an octave jump and then quavers going down. We've seen the rhythm before in the first section. Here is with the piano playing from bar 40. The first time we play in bar 42, we are in MF, and the second time we play in bar 45, we are in forte. Look out also that the second time we are on a high F, which is a different fingering to the other F that we're playing. We also have a decrescendo from bar 48 to a piano. Do look out for the timing differences as well here. After that, we have the 3 quaver upbeat played 3 times. The first 2 times it is slurred, and the last time it is tongued with a crescendo. The last 2 times we also have the F sharp back, helping us transition back into the A major, as well as a Rit, so we're slowing down as well. Back to an MF and the A section. Bar 51 to 57 is exactly the same as bar 1 to 24 down to the dynamics. When we get to bar 75, we have the ending phrase, starting off with 3 quaver upbeats and the dotted crotchet. When we get to the third time in bar 78, we see a new rhythm. A minimum slurred to a pair of tight crotchets, and finally 2 crotchets. Just need to look out for the accidentals here on the G note. Then after that, we have the falling quavers ending with the rhythm that we've previously had in bar 24. When we get to the final octave jump, the low A is 3 beats and the high A note is a quaver staccato. We also see a Rit al fine, ritardo al fine, slowing down to the end, as well as a decrescendo into a PP for the final octave jump. So from bar 75. And that's the end of the piece. Well, that was the tutorial of the A2 piece Minuet by Cicel Armstrong Gibbs. Rhythmically, this piece is quite simple to count, and being in ABA4 means that you don't have to learn as much as the other pieces. We do have to be expressive and elegant in the piece, and just because they are repeating elements of the piece doesn't mean we have to play them exactly the same way. Try and experiment with different tones and colors of the piece so it doesn't become monotonous. Another thing to look out for is the tonguing, as it does change from being slurred to tongued quite frequently, and there's also some staccatos thrown in as well. The dynamics are written for the section, but it's also a good idea to express dynamics within the phrase itself following the music. There are some tricky sections in here, like the second half of the A section where you are playing question and answer with the piano, or the B section where the semiquavers can get quite fast. Hopefully that was useful to you. This is the second of the grade 5 pieces. Check out the other pieces in the playlist when they're up. Also check out my piano and F1 gaming series as well if you're interested. Give a like and subscribe if you like what I did here. Put a comment down below if you want me to go over anything specific, or if you want to share your own tips and tricks with your fellow viewers. I'll see you in the next video on Master of None. Bye!